Okay, I would like to welcome you to this special occasion of the author Allan Carty book launch. Before we get into this evening's event, I would like to invite Pastor Damian Benjamin to ask God's blessing on this evening's event. Pastor.
All right, I invite us to stand at this time for prayer. All right, we are praying. Father God, we pause to give you thanks for the many blessings you have bestowed upon us even throughout this day. We want to thank you, dear God, for bringing us to this point and to this occasion where we are about to celebrate and to launch this book. And Father, we believe, dear Lord, it's because of who you are and what you have done, because of your inspiration, because of your goodness over the years. What we are about to do, that your will and your will alone will be done. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. It is my great pleasure and honor to welcome you all to the book launch of Without Fear or Favor by Allan Carty. I am Randolph Yearwood, your MC for this evening, and I'm delighted to be your MC for this special occasion. Your presence here today is greatly appreciated and adds to the excitement and significance of this event. Before we begin, I would like to extend a warm welcome and heartfelt thanks to our esteemed author, Mr. Allan Carty. Give him a round of applause. And all of you, our wonderful audience, for being here to celebrate this special achievement. The purpose of today's event is to celebrate the launch of Without Fear or Favor. This book is a documentation of Allan's 30 years in the Royal Anguilla Police Force. It all started from his early years as a recruit at the Regional Training Center in Barbados to reaching the rank of inspector in the Royal Anguilla Police Force. It represents a significant achievement for Allan Carty. Today we come together to honor this accomplishment and to dig into the journey behind the creation of this book. I would just like to say, personally, Mr. Carty was my instructor at training school. And I can remember on Saturday, the 8th of January 1994, I left District A Police Station in Barbados on a bus, headed to the Regional Police Training Center. On board with me were a number of other recruits. On arrival at the training center, we disembarked the bus, and there to welcome us was an instructor I later found out to be Mr. Allan Carty from Anguilla. I can recall the first thing that impressed me about Allan was how neat and sharp he was in his uniform. The uniform was well pressed and the seams were, sharp and well done. If you put your hand there, it will cut you. But he was instrumental in teaching the Anguillan recruits local law, local statute. And Allan loved to drill, and he was very sharp on the parade square. In fact, he always reminds us that he was the best when it comes to drill. And to be honest, he was kind of right. On his return to Anguilla, Allan continued his dedicated service. He served honorable in many departments, and I'll mention some. The traffic department, many of you may know him as, traffic officer. He even served in the firearm task force. Back then it was called the firearm task force. He was inspector of operation for the beat and patrol and traffic, and he also spent some time in CID. Allan carried his task, as his book rightly states, without fear or favor. We have an engaging program lined up for you this afternoon, and that includes the man himself, the author, Allan Carty. He will give us some remarks. The book reading and review, question and answer session, closing remarks and vote of thanks, the book signing, and the networking and refreshments. We hope that each part of today's program will inspire and engage you. As we celebrate the lunch, let us look forward to the impact that, without fear or favor, will have on its readers. Books have the power to inspire, educate, transform, and we are excited to see how this book will resonate with its audience. A few housekeeping matters, issues, items. I think after the program, there's some refreshments outside for you. Everybody knows there's the restroom. And during the signing of the book, there will be some books on sale. I will go into that a little later, educate you more on that a little later. In conclusion, I want to thank you all once again for being here and for supporting Allan Carty and without fear or favor. Your presence and enthusiasm make this celebration truly unforgettable. So without further ado, let's get started with our first segment. Please join me in welcoming the man himself, the author himself, Mr. Allan Carty.
Good evening to all. I want to thank all of you for coming here. To attend my first book launch. I said my first. The mic was second. And would like to share briefly with you the story behind the book. This book is titled Without Fear or Favor: My Story of 30 Years of Service in the Royal Anguilla Police Force. It is about experiences, training, lessons, and laughs, relationship, and bonds, as well as the corruption, discrimination, and victimization that occurred during my tenure. While it pains me to highlight some events that occurred, I believe that most chapters will be eye-openers. You will read about the ordeals I suffered for the sake of integrity and loyalty, but I also hope this book leaves a legacy of honor for those who come behind me. I pray the chapters may encourage someone in a private battle, motivate someone to join the Royal Anguilla Police Force, and to inspire some current officers to be more dedicated and honorable to the service. I was inspired to write this book because I had a true story to share with the Anguillan community and the world. I was inspired by my older brother, Dr. Lincoln Carty, who is presently a Minister of Health and Wellness, and who does a lot of reading. Having in my possession my personal file with its details of my time in the Royal Anguilla Police Force was also a motivator for me. It took me about 3 years to complete the original manuscript. I started writing during the first COVID-19 lockdown, starting by deciding the topic of the chapter first before I wrote it. I wrote whenever a thought came to mind, but the bulk of the writing was done between 8 p.m. and 12 a.m. I have also thought of myself as an easygoing individual, but during the process of writing, I discovered more about my self-awareness and the fact that I didn't let anything bother me. While writing, I also discovered my own perseverance, my inner desire to keep going despite the odds. The more I kept writing, the more I could see improvement in my work. For anyone wondering why I should read this book, well, I can think of many reasons, but I will outline 3 of them. 1, you will learn about the level of corruption in your police force during my tenure from 1980 to 2010. 2, you will learn about the thousands of dollars that government spent to send me on training in England, Canada, Jamaica 3 times, Grenada twice, Barbados 10 times, Miami 8 times, Antigua and the Dominican Republic as well as training here in Anguilla. Finally, you will learn about me from the days of my youth to my retirement from the Royal Anguilla Police Force in 2010. I believe this book will be enjoyed by anyone who has a desire to read, regardless of the topic or regardless of the author. But I also wrote it for anyone who has a desire to know more about me and about being in the Royal Anguilla Police Force. I hope it inspires someone who has a story to write it and share it with others. While writing this book, the greatest challenge was finding a professional editor. I reached out to several well-known and qualified teachers, some straightforward in saying they couldn't take on the job, while others took a month before informing me that they were not able to continue the job. I prayed and asked God for help. And I later met a friend who directed me to Mr. Simon, who is here. Mr. Simon, can you stand? Let everybody stand. Mrs. Simon was an educator and is also an author. We discussed the editing of the book, and my prayer was answered. Mrs. Simon took on the task, and this is the outcome. When the editing process was completed, I took hard copies to lawyer Astafan for his legal advice. A few weeks later, he returned the chapters and informed me that all was good and no changes were necessary. My daughter, Allan, taught art at Campus B and Q, so I spoke with her about doing the front and back cover. I later consulted the Honorable Kenneth Hodge, a publisher, for his expertise regarding the end product. And this book is the final result. I'm grateful to God for reaching this point and to everyone who assisted me along the way. Thank you for listening to the backstory and process behind the book. Maybe later this evening, you may hear from me small pieces of chapters or paragraphs in the book. Thank you.
At this time, we will have the book reading and review by Ms. Maria Webster and Mr. Rodney Rea.
Good evening, everyone. I am profoundly pleased to be part of this activity this evening to celebrate the launch of Without Fear or Favor, the story of my 30 years of service in the Royal Anguilla Police Force, written by W. Allan, Carty. It is clear that this book is a work of love. Love for this island, love for the noble profession of policing, love for family. All of this is carefully packaged and precisely detailed. Truly, a work that anyone would want to read and have on the shelves in his or her personal library. There are several passages throughout this book that beckon invitingly to one's attention. However, as I turned the pages, the significance of this date, December 12th, was not lost and definitely not underestimated. Almost smack in the middle of this book comes chapter 17 with the title, My Wedding, 1993. Maybe I was looking for some record of romance and family in this whole account, and I was not disappointed. To add to the flavor, today's date coincides with not only the launch date, but the author's 31st wedding anniversary and his wife, Mrs. Lynette Carty's birthday. So let me say here and now that only someone with the author's methodical mind would come up with such an arrangement. And it seems Lynette was thinking similarly. So, well matched. So I will read a section of this chapter that caught my attention and satisfied my search for the romantic element in the book. I will read from pages 79 to 81. Just before the end of the recruit course number 98, I informed the commandant that I had proposed to Lynette Welch and requested the use of the dining hall for the wedding reception after the completion of the following recruit course, number 99. The commandant approved my request without delay and wished me success. I was elated to hear these words from the commandant, whom I regarded as a mentor. Thereafter, I informed all the other instructors of my plans to get married. They were all delighted to hear of this bold step in my life. I continued to pray and to work to the best of my ability. The recruit course, number 98, ended with a super passing out parade, which some have said they will never forget. Recruit course number 99 commenced in the second week in July 1993. It had always been the norm that the recruits would come from all the overseas dependent territories and the host island, Barbados. In the past, Barbados accommodated recruits from Dominica, Grenada, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but those islands now had their own police training schools. That same month, Lynette and I started marriage counseling. It was a great experience. As I continued working with recruit course number 99, Lynette and I would meet with other family members on weekends to discuss the wedding plans. We both decided that the wedding day would be the 12th of December 1993, her birthday. After consulting with the commandant, we decided to use my ceremonial dress for the wedding. Recruit course number 99 came to an end on Tuesday, 7th December 1993, with another spectacular passing out parade, which included a super precision drill by the new graduates. From that day, I actually started counting down the days to 12th December 1993, which remains a special day for us. I received moral support from the administrative staff and the instructors of the Regional Police Training Center. The commandant had informed all staff members and the Regional Police Training Center that, the Regional Police Training Center would be closed for all training until January 1994, when recruit course number 100 would commence. As the days went by and the wedding date got closer, one of the first things that I did to prepare for that official day was to iron my ceremonial dress wear. It was immaculate. The wedding was planned for just over 250 persons, and the church service was set for the 6 Roads Seventh-day Adventist Church. Finally, the day arrived, Sunday, 12th December 1993. I was the happiest person in the world. I waited in the church for a while with my best man sitting beside me. The pastor arrived, and shortly after, the bride was walking up the aisle. I looked around as everyone was standing and saw that my bride was looking straight at me. And we both smiled at each other. I definitely knew that the Lord God had plans for our future together. The most stunning moment of the afternoon was when the young Adventist pastor, Mr. Colin Thorne, delivered the wedding sermonette. When all the formalities were over, we went to the historic Sam Lord's Castle to have the wedding pictures taken, after which we went to the Regional Police Training Center for the reception. It was a lovely reception, and everything went just as planned. We thanked everyone who participated in making our wedding day a success, but special appreciation was expressed to the commandant and the staff of the Regional Police Training Center for the use of their facilities. The following day, my wife and I left Barbados for St. Lucia, where we spent the week of our honeymoon. We really had a great time in St. Lucia, one that I never forget. During the time in the beautiful island of St. Lucia, I thought about writing more poems. You now know that the author is also a poet. I always wrote about my feelings and about events that happened. At this stage, I began to think of the very first time I saw my dear wife. For me, it was love at first sight. I then chose these words, which I've dedicated to her. This poem is entitled, I'll now read it, First Time. I'm looking for reactions. From the very first time I saw your face, I always knew you would have taken someone's place. You later told me you had a boyfriend, and that's when I decided it wasn't the end. One bright sunny morning, I looked you in the eyes, but only to find that you were not surprised. I came closer so that I could talk to you, and that's when I thought about loving you. However, you told me you need enough time so that you can lie down and make up your mind. When I came the Sunday, you were so outspoken because I am the one you had chosen. Here, this rather private account of the life of a man who recognized that it wasn't good for a man to be alone and carefully looked for the helpmeet that God intended him to have. Nestled in his account of the training, the passing out parades, and other elements of police-related activities, he boldly, and might I add tenderly, invite his readers to share in this private moment. It was a refreshing interlude that seems to say, breathe a little. Now go on to hear more of the profession that shaped the author into the serious, fastidious, diligent, yet gentle individual we all came to know over the years. In closing, I offer congratulations to Mr. Allan Carty on his completing this book and making it available to his readers. To Allan and Lynette on their 31st wedding anniversary. And to Mrs. Lynette Carty on her birthday today. Congratulations. Today is definitely a day you and your family will long remember, as it leaves a footprint in your lives and those of your children, relatives, colleagues, and friends. Heartiest congratulations, Mr. and Mrs. Allan Carty.
Good evening to all. Mrs. Maria Webster, my former schoolmate and colleague, has set a very high bar. So it is very difficult to come after her to do the task that we have been asked to do. I will present some general comments on the book itself. I must admit that I've only read a few selected paragraphs, and I browsed through the titles of the chapters and some of the contents. And from that, I can draw the following conclusions, though not exhaustive. Conclusions about the character and personality of W. Allan Carty. As I skim the book, I think I can conclude that Allan wrote from his heart. We can also conclude that he covered the good, the bad, and the ugly in this book. Allan demonstrated his honesty, courage, and fearlessness. He maintained his integrity from the beginning to the end of his tenure, even in the face of offers of bribery and alleged nepotism. And he also demonstrated his loyalty to the organization, the Royal Anguilla Police Force, because although he experienced so much discrimination, victimization, and injustice, he did not reveal anything to the public. For the first time, I'm hearing some of the things he has written in the text. So he was loyal, but he has now made a lot of allegations public. So I can say better late than never. I will read two paragraphs from chapter 21 and chapter 22. Chapter 21, paragraph 1, page 100 reads, I recall 1997 as the year that led to my promotion to the rank of inspector in 1998. It was always one of my goals to become an inspector of police. I considered that position to be the stepping stone that would lead to the rank of commissioner of police. However, it often seemed to me as though I were in a battle that needed to be won in order to be promoted to the rank of inspector. My colleague friend reminded me to be very watchful, cautioning me to remember that the promotion opportunity would be coming the following year. And then in chapter 22, paragraph 1 on page 107, W. Allan Carty writes, from the 1st of March 1998, when I became an inspector, every style of my operation at work changed. One may ask, why the change? Well, I have always maintained that what I learned in training. When you are of a particular rank, you must always aspire to the rank above. Now that I was an inspector, I would be performing as if I were a superintendent, and I would continue to do that. So while Maria concentrated on his love affair, on his love life, I concentrated on his ambition for promotion in the Royal Anguilla Police Force. You would agree with me that W. Allan Carty was ambitious, hardworking, self-motivated, and above all, he was a professional officer, despite not achieving all of his career goals. think he reached the rank of inspector, but he had the desire of reaching commissioner, and had conditions been different, who knows, he may have retired as the commissioner of police. So he was not prepared to be the carrier of water or the hero of wood. He was not satisfied with being a mere constable. He wanted to reach the top. And he rose to the rank of inspector of police. I just want to add, one of the countries that he traveled to for training, he didn't mention. In the book, you mentioned that you traveled to Bermuda. Did you go to Bermuda? I don't think you mentioned that in the long list of countries where you was sent on the people's money, but never achieved what you so richly deserved. So I wish to add my congratulations to W. Allan Carty for your sterling service to the Royal Anguilla Police Force, and by extension to the people of Anguilla. And I want to congratulate you as well and your family for achieving this milestone in your life's journey, the launch of your first book. Many more to come. Thank you very much.
I just want to thank Mrs. Maria Webster and Mr. Ron Ray for the selective reading of Without Fear and Favor. I'm sure after hearing those selective paragraphs, chapters, whatever, you are ready and willing to get your hands on a copy of that book, Without Fear and Favor. Later on, I'll tell you how you can achieve such. Well, at this time, moving forward, is a section that you'll be waiting for, the question and answer session. This is the time you get the opportunity to ask the man himself, Mr. Allan Carty, the author, anything you want to ask him in respect to the book or in respect to his time in the Royal Anguilla Police Force. So this is your time. Don't be scared. Ask him, and he will answer you. Okay? So I ask Mr. Allan Carty to come forward, and who want to be the first? Who will be the first? I'm sure you're not shy.
Can you repeat?
Thank you. I was asking Mr. Carty, when you were a young officer in charge of traffic at the Albert Lake Junction, why did you stop young drivers there and ask them what I term ridiculous questions?
Well, let me answer by saying, if I stop someone, it's because an offense has been committed or about to be committed, or I want to find out whether they have a driver's license or not. That's why I stop. And I have the privilege and duty, as long as I'm in uniform, to stop anybody. Don't care whether you are the commissioner or the superintendent or a minister of government.
She has another question for you.
Mr. Carty, I can recall many years ago, I was 16 years old and I had my license. You stopped me at that junction. And there was no reason for you to stop me. There was no reason. Okay, no offense was committed. I know for a fact, no offense.
The book is about corruption in the force. And you could never have had a license at 16 years. 18 years is required from since the laws of Anguilla traffic laws were made. You had a learner's permit, not a driver's license. So the officer that gave you the license was corrupt.
This is some other, you one more.
Mr. Carty, the process was not one of corruption. I was the first of 14 children. I used to go to high school in the government truck in front with my father. The matter was taken to the chief of police, and he allowed me at that age to take the test, which I passed. So I was a legal driver. I paid my $10 to get my book.
I say no more.
Okay, so you finish?
I say no more.
Okay, so I'm going to ask someone from this side. Okay, we have a volunteer here.
Okay, I haven't gotten the chance to read the book yet, but I still, because this is the time for us to ask you questions. The name of the book, Without Fear or Favor. Can you give us one experience where you were so fearful as that it caused you to even shiver in your boots? You know, still standing brave, looking at the situation with a straight face, but you know, within you were shivering.
Okay, without fear or favor. Anytime I perform my duties, I done it without fear of anyone coming to me and telling me anything that I've done wrong. I did that without fear of anyone or favor. No one gonna pay me to do something that I know it's wrong. I'm not gonna do anything to get what I want or reach where I want in the force. Is that answer your question?
What I'm trying to say, you are faced with this situation. Yes, you know that you will not cut corners. However, with the way the person came to you, or whatever the situation was placed before you, it really shook you. Not that you give in.
Okay. What? Okay. There are so many experiences that occurred. Just one, for now. I was in charge of the traffic department, and the young lady was on the outside standing while the others were inside sitting, waiting to do a written test. And I asked her why she's not inside sitting. She said she doesn't want to do the test anymore. And she pulled from her pocket and do like this with her hands open. I looked. $500. I looked her in the eyes and I said, I am not like the others. I can do one or two things. I can take the money from you and take you down to the cell right now, or I'm going to leave you to do the test. She did the test, and I marked it. At that time, the score for pass was 80, and she got 29. That's on a Monday. Tuesday pass, Wednesday pass. The Thursday, she came back to do the test. And the officer who was over me took her in his office and locked the office door, both of them together in there. The test normally is supposed to last 1 hour. He spent 1 hour and 57 minutes with her. Then he came over and said to me, she passed the test because I'm the one responsible for the records. And I know that he had to come to me. So he told me that she got 80. I marked 80 in the record book. The next day, Friday, all of this in the same week, she came back. And she came back. She came back and said she come to do the road test. The same officer took her on the road and he spent some time out. I decided I have to see that paper. I went into his office, don't ask me how I got in, and I looked and looked and looked. If the test was done yesterday, it should be in the desk or on the table. It took me 7 minutes to find that paper. I remarked it because I knew the highway code book inside out, so I didn't have to look into the highway code book. And then when I marked it, she got 59. I wrote in my book, she didn't get 59, he got 59 because he did the test for her. You understand? I took it, photocopied it, wrote a report, sent it up to the senior officers, like the deputy commissioner or the commissioner, and I actually saw the lady sitting behind the desk, only to find out it was a setup for me to accept a bribe, for me to get dismissed. It's clear?
Wow. Any more questions for Allan? Because, okay, we have one over here from Ralph Johnson.
All right, good night. Two questions. I'll give a lighter one first. What does the W in W, Ann, and Carty stands for? Right, don't answer that one. Right. Second question. You spoke in your remarks about corruption, and then you also spoke about hoping persons who read are encouraged to join the RAPF. So in your own words, what do you expect from persons reading the book to take as encouragement to join the RAPF?
Well, to me, that's very simple. If they have a heart like me, they would stop doing the bad things and turn a new page and continue to do things that is loyal and professional to the service. It is, I find that a lot of guys in the force, guys and girls in the force who really want to reach high. And what I find out is that those senior officers, they know who is a good officer. And you know what they do? They tend to trample them underneath and put those who doesn't know the work. And then the whole situation breaks down. That is why the UK officers have to be coming here. And it is sad because if I was up to that standard as the commissioner, somebody under me would have been trained enough to carry on the job and not to let those people come here. That's it.
Okay. Yes. Any more question, Clark? You have one? Oh, Clark have one.
So, Mr. Carty, I'm happy that you wrote the book, but I know that you could not write it before while you're in the force and probably had to wait till you finish it 30 years to write the book. So, I mean, each of us can write a book too, but I can read your book.
Thank you.
So you have your first sale here, Clara. Any more questions? Any more questions? Okay, so Mr. Carty, I know that you officially reached the rank of Inspector of Police, but I know during your term of service, you also act as Superintendent of Police. Can you tell me something about, when you were in that capacity, that field?
Well, having reached the rank of inspector, like the book said, that I tried to reach a standard of superintendent. Actually, there were 2 officers in line for superintendent when the then superintendent had to go off to study. So the then commissioner went before the Public Service Commission and he told them that I'm the only one that can do the job. And they actually appoint me as acting superintendent. I did that for 2 years straight without a day miss from sickness. When time comes for the position, the post was given to another officer. And then there was this talk around, I'm just cutting it short. This officer met me in the corridor and said, "Boy, Carty, you're in BH, you're CH." At that time, I had no idea what this means. So I sort of investigated, and then I heard it meant you didn't born here, you come here. 2 years passed, another post for superintendent came up, and the same Public Service Commission gave it to the same officer who could not have done the job, the post. And that officer never attended any training at all. And between that time, I probably had, as you mentioned there, maybe 8 courses. And that's why I said the government wastes money. But, so, another time came up for superintendent. And again, I was denied the position. So I wrote in my book. The first time I went before the Public Service Commission, there was a table, oval table, and that time I was really versed in my work, and because that same year we did an interview training, teaching you how to interview someone, teaching you how to be interviewed by someone, and so on. And they called my name, and as I opened the door, I looked at the table, and just like they taught us, look around and see how many persons there who are sitting. And when I looked at the table, some had the head down, some was writing, some was staring up. And I said to myself, no, I'm in the wrong place. Because they're supposed to be looking at me to see my demeanor, how I walk in, and so on. So I said to myself, no, I ain't gonna do this professional way no more. I said, I'm going to assess them. So I went closer, and from the way how the table was set out, you knew who would the chairperson, and all that they taught us, and I'm waiting for the chairperson to tell me sit. And then this person down here, you can have a seat. I was like, okay, I sat, and I sat in a way how they taught us. I'm being interviewed. And only to my surprise, this guy, very close to me, took up our papers and said, Mr. Carty, you submit these papers to us. I notice here you're married. Where your wife from? And I was looking at him, and when he finished, I scanned my eyes to all of them. The commissioner was here next to me. And I turned back to him in one word, Barbados. And they looked at each other as if they were surprised that I didn't do something to cause me to lose it. The next person said, Mr. Carty, according to this, you're not an Anguillan. Seeing that you're not Anguillan, how do you cope with the Anguillan public? That struck me. And I said to myself, but this lady, she ain't read the Constitution. And if she had read it, she would not have asked me that question. So I said, I start from her, and I start talking. I said, according to the Constitution, and I'm looking at the rest of them, I am an Anguillan. I have 21 years in the service. I have an Anguilla passport, and anywhere I go in Anguilla, day or night, I have a good relationship with the public. And they kept looking and wondering where this guy come from. That's all I could say. And so in between my book, I wrote, if I had become superintendent on any one of those occasions, I would automatically become the commissioner of police. And if I had become the commissioner of police, I would go to the governor on the very first day in office and ask for a commission of inquiry into the force. It was being done by officers from England, Jamaica, Barbados, or Trinidad, no one from here. And anyone need to get locked up, will get locked up. Yeah? And it went in the, and the thing about it is that the last time of the 3 times that I had to go to the Public Service Commission, I acted in the position 5 times, with the longest one 2 years straight. And I said in the book that the Public Service Commission, they were not in charge. God was in charge. And he allowed them not to promote me because he had a plan for my life. And I said in the book, remember I said I assessed them, and I gave them a score between 1 to 10, 10 being the highest. And I said in my book, I gave them 4. And I used to wonder if this is how they treat other civil servants when they're going for position, in a higher position. And that is the, and let me just mention this. Let me just mention, the Public Service Commission, whenever you're going before them for promotion, they must have your personal file. My book is based on my personal file. I have a copy of it at home. And when I was going through my personal file, I remembered writing a 2-page testimonial to say why I am the best person for the job. And all of a sudden, it just flew out of my file and gone somewhere. So, and I have a copy of it. And it was with the other 2 promotions. At no time I can see my testimonial in my file. So my last 5 months in the service, they send out an application to appointment for the Deputy Commissioner of Police. And I wrote my testimonial to become the Deputy Commissioner of Police, in spite of the fact that I was not promoted 3 times as a superintendent. Because at that stage, as an inspector, I still was, and I would say it, the top-ranking officer to fit the post of Deputy Commissioner of Police. And 5 months in the force. And you know what? That testimonial was on my file. Because they know that they tell themselves, okay, 5 months, don't promote him, give somebody else. Yeah? And I have that testimonial right there, hoping that somebody would say, read it for me, let me hear it. But, so that is how it went in terms of that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Allan. If there are no more questions, any more questions? Question? You have it? Okay, any more questions from our lovely audience? A comment? No problem.
Mr. Carty, you and I have been friends for many years, and I just want to share with you, despite everything, I believe God is always in charge and he makes no mistakes.
That is so true. Okay, so if We don't have. There's a question? Okay. So we have a question on.
This question comes from Akima. Why did you court my mother when she had a boyfriend?
What?
Why did you court my mother when she had a boyfriend? Date.
Court or date? This is a good answer from you.
What was the question?
Why did you court or date my mother when she had a boyfriend?
From the very first time I saw him, I knew he was not the right person for her.
All right. That's the real answer. That's the right answer. Couldn't want any better than that. Okay. So that's it. Okay, so let me thank you, the audience, for your questions. And I want to thank the author, Mr. Allan Carty, for the answers he gave to you. Okay? So a round of applause for everybody. At this time, you have the closing remarks and vote of thanks by Miss Vanessa Carty Connor. Carter. Carty.
Connor.
Carty.
Thanks, man.
Vanessa Connor. I'm saying Carty here. I don't know where I get that from.
That is because my uncle wants to keep me a Carty. It is my distinct pleasure to celebrate together with you and with us, standing in representation of family and friends as we congratulate our husband, our father, our brother, uncle, great uncle, cousin, mentor, instructor, colleague, church family, and friend. Our Uncle Allan has made us proud as he comes from a family rich in poetry, short stories, skits, plays, children's books, and now he has joined the ranks as a published author, having now launched his self-written personal documentary. Truly without fear or favor. As family, we can tell you that. And as was said in the first book review, and by himself, very easygoing, but very much a straight shooter. Self-aware, loving when it comes to his family, devoted to the Anguillan community. And I'm so happy because I'm surrounded by some of my former teachers here who are celebrating together with Uncle Allan. And Mrs. Webster spoke about, as written in his book, the inner desire to keep going despite the odds. 1980 to 2010, that is remarkable. That is one of the reasons that he gave to read the book. The other that he spoke about is the investment in training. And that is a considerable amount that was invested in him. And we understand the challenges that he went through. But notwithstanding, I'm certain that the Anguillan community benefited from the investment, even though he didn't attain to what he had aspired. There is one thing that came out of that significant investment, particularly
the investment spent in training in Barbados. And you can see the fruit of that significant investment in Barbados as he brought back his queen as the fruit of his Bajan labor. And he did bring some of those recruits too, because one of the former servers of our community, as he was before, and had attained a certain rank as well, and some of his other mentees I see are here celebrating with him and with us. As you've heard from the first book reading, the first book review, my uncle has no lack of flair. And you cannot begin to imagine how many times I, myself, dodged and skirted, figuring out how to respond to the question. It's one of two questions. I was wondering if anybody would ask the second, what is the W meaning? He will not tell us that. But the first thing that I had to kind of not cower or shiver, but kind of try to get away from was answering my classmates, younger siblings and cousins as to, why is our uncle named Sexy? I'm not going there. But lots of classmates would ask me how he got that nickname. But if you're wondering, Pastor, you can have a discussion with him and with Auntie Lynette. Without fear or favor, even if it meant having to take a principal role in carrying out the law, even if it meant family. And when he says that, he really means it, because even the closest of family, if there were any infractions with the law, he was the first to ensure that justice was carried out to the full. In the second book review, another teacher of mine, Mr. Ray, spoke about the fact that in looking at it, he could tell the honesty, courage, and fearlessness. And this was true while he was on the beat and while he was off the beat. And as I said, no family member was exempt from his fulsome forthrightness. You can see even with his look and his glances and his stares, he will make sure and he would never hesitate to call a spade a spade. And as I said, 30 years is no small feat. And to walk with such loyalty and confidence speak volumes. And I'm certain that his ambition and his character leads a strong legacy for all of us to follow and aspire to. I am thankful to all who have come out and participated to make this celebration, because that's what it is, as my uncle and aunt celebrates not only the book launch, but their 31 years of marriage, which is tremendous, and Auntie Lynette's birthday. I'm going to sing you the birthday song soon. A special thank you to Pastor Damian Benjamin. We are grateful for your support and your prayers. Thanks to Mr. Randolph Yearwood for your welcoming introduction and for chairing the ceremony. Thanks to you for your diligence and all of the time that you spent to put your life in the public sphere and writing your documentary. So thank you as well. Thanks to Mrs. Maria Webster and Mr. Rodney Ray for the book reading and review. And thanks to all of you who asked questions. Don't mind the bantering between my good teacher, Mrs. Mercedes Fleming, and Uncle Allan, because they are like two peas in a pod. And we are going to welcome everyone to partake in the book signing and getting your own personal copy in just a minute. I just want to acknowledge some individuals who are here as well and some who are not here. We are grateful for the work that was done by Honorable Mr. Kenneth Hodge, who served alongside Allan and was the local publisher and assisted him with some of the photography and getting everything together and putting this beautiful work into fruition. We are also grateful for the editor, Mrs. Torkessa Simon. She was already acknowledged. We are so grateful for your support. Mr. Astafan, as we all know him, Tommy Astafan, for the legal review. Understandably, there are some very interesting and sometimes perhaps controversial content, and so it was important that we have legal cover. You understand that. And thanks to very close family, of course, his dear wife, who would have spent the time much more than any of us other family members who would get the benefit of hearing as he was going through the book. And she would have had to be there day in, day out, being support and encouragement to him, staying up in the late hours of the night as he worked on the book, as he mentioned. A special thank you to Elena Carty. She's in here, she's in the UK right now, but her artistic skills were utilized in the design of the cover page as well as the inner page. You will see that there is an artistic rendering of his hat, and that was freehand drawn. That is not AI, okay? So there's lots of talent in this family. We are thankful to Confetti Dust Studio for putting together the backdrop here that is so beautifully done, and I'm sure we'll add to some of the pictures, etc., that will be taken shortly. We are thankful to Clean Stream for their live streaming of this book launch, and thanks to T-Sounds Recording Studio in collaboration with Millennium Sound for the audio and sound. As you've been advised, we will be benefiting from some refreshments as we do the networking. And these refreshments are catered by Doretta, Suzette, and Kanisa. So in terms of where you get your books, I'm sure that, are you going to come back with that? We do have the book signing that is going to be done. You can get your personal copy signed tonight. Do not leave without it. And you will be able to access Mr. Carty. We all see him on the road all the time, so they will be made available for sale as well. So we are thankful again for all of you coming out, and for those who are viewing on live stream, thank you kindly for supporting us in this event.
Thank you, Vanessa, for your closing remarks and a vote of thanks. We will now have the book signing for about 20 to 30 minutes, the book signing. And I just want to let you know that today only the hardcover books will be going at $25 US. Today only, $25 US. So you have a deal today, a special deal today. So get your hard copy books today. Tomorrow, anytime after today, it will be going at $30. The soft cover is $25, and that will remain at $25. But the hardcover books will go to $30 after this evening. So you can get your hardcover books right now. Join the signing. You come up, you sign with the author himself. You can take some pictures, whatever you want to do. Get your books. And right, Arthur? Okay, good. Yes. Yes, that's so right, so true. Lynette? And we're going to sing. It's birthday and anniversary, so we're going to sing.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. May the good Lord? May the good Lord bless you. May the good Lord bless you. How old are Happy anniversary to you the same way? Okay. Let's go. Happy anniversary to you. Happy anniversary to you. Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary to you.
So there are only 50 copies in stock, the hardcover, right? 50 copies in stock right now, so make sure you get your copy. This is some hot stuff. They're going to go like hot cakes, so make sure you get your copy. So come on up. It's the book signing now. Come on up.
Now to him who is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we can ask, think, or even imagine, according to the power of Christ living within us. We say glory be to God, for we know that our God is more than enough. I can be pompous, I can be self-righteous, but when I look inside me, the light shows that I'm not all I should be. I wanna look outward, see where the world is failing, but the truth is I know my world's a reflection of me. Where do I start from? How do I change things? How do I make me more like you? That's when I hear you. Your voice is clearly my grace sufficient. I'm all you need. Then I can fly. I leave my feet. I touch the sky. You're all I need. I soar so high. I feel so loved. You lift me up. Your love's more than enough. 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 When we seek God with all our hearts and all our minds and all our souls, that's when we'll find His perfect will for our lives. Stay focused.
I can lose focus, need to stay connected, cause you are my source, and I know that I'm nothing without you. I know your love is gracious, your love is never failing, cause in my moment of doubt, I feel so far away from you. Where do I start from? How do I change things? How do I make me more like you? Yeah, that's when I hear you. Your voice is clearly my grace sufficient. You're all I need. You're all I need. I fly. I leave my feet. I touch the sky. You're all I need. I soar so high. I feel so loved. You lift me up, God. Your love is more than enough. It is more than. It's more than. Yeah, it's more. It's more than enough.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we have a presentation to do. The author will be donating a hard copy book to the Anguilla Library Services. So we ask the representative to step forward.
Life is a test of persistence. You only reap what you sow. Sometimes you'll wanna give up now. Trust me, I know the race is not for the swift ones. Endure and keep trotting through. What God has promised for you, son, is only for you. The rains won't fall, the winds won't blow. Yeah, the seeds of doubt will come, but don't let them grow. You see the lines on my face, the glaze in my eyes, they paint a picture of the years and mark the tears that I've cried. And every time that I fell and grace did I rise. This is the story of my years, and it's the story of my life. 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 The story of my life.
I've seen God's grace in abundance. Every test built my faith. You never know how much you'll grow until you have failed. Make your plans in your heart. Let God guide your steps. My son, hear my instructions, so your days will be well.
The rains won't fall, the winds won't blow. Yeah, the seeds of doubt will come, but don't let them grow.
The lines on my face, the glaze in my eyes, they paint a picture of the years and mark the tears that I've cried. And every time that I fell, in grace did I rise. This is the story of my years. This is the story of my life.
The story of my life. The story of my life. The story of my life. The story of my life. When everything I had was gone, and all my hopes seemed to run dry. When my life's work seemed to be lost, and there were no more tears to cry, I put my faith in something more than I could hold or see or buy. This is the story of my faith. This is the story of my life. 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 This is the story of my life. The story of my life. The story of my life. I fall down, but I get up. I'm never counted out. I'm never counted out. I get up. We believe this final sunset be shattered by a cloud. Still I see a silver lining that shines to guide me out. If you don't know what you're looking for, no one can help you find it. If you don't know what you're looking for, no one can help you find it. Help you find it. Thanks a lot for the honesty about the emptiness inside. too have felt the loneliness. The truth cannot hide. You don't know what you're looking for. No one can help you find it. If you don't know what you're looking for, no one can help you find it. Help you find it. Pretty pearl, restless soul. No one can help you find it. When you know what you're looking for, maybe I can help you find it. Help you find it. If you don't know what you're looking for, no one can help you find it. But when you know what you're looking for, maybe I can help you find it. Help you find it. If you don't know what you're looking for, no one can help you find it. But when you know what you're looking for, maybe I can help you find it. Help you find it. You don't know. No one can help you find it. When you know what you're looking for, maybe I can help you find it. Help you find it. Yeah, that's Find It. I want to dedicate that one to Ken and Roxanne Seaholm, our dearly departed rock. For every test there's an answer. In every song there's a melody. Truth in life reveals itself when we close our eyes. In every step there's a journey. In every seed there's infinity. We free ourselves to see the truth. When we close our eyes and we search to find ourselves, and we search to find the truth, and we search for meaning in life. But could you remind yourself or something you once held true? Can you close your eyes? And if you really want it, keep your heart and your mind wholly focused on God. And if your soul desires it, surrender your will, and He will bring it to pass. And if you're working for it, will order your steps, you're closer now to His plan. The word is placed inside of you, will make the change in your life.
For every heart that is broken, there's a peace in the remedy. The light of life reveals itself in mercy's eyes. When we let go of perfection, we can be all that we need to be. We free ourselves to live the truth. When grace abides, we learn to find ourselves, and we learn to find the truth, and we find some meaning in life. Oh, the beauty inside yourself, what God has placed in you when you close your eyes.
And if you really want it, keep your heart and your mind wholly focused on God. And if your soul desires it, surrender your will, and He will bring it to pass. And if you're working for it, He'll order your steps, you're closer now to His plan. The word is placed inside of you, will make the change in your life. Cause if the words that you're speaking and the thoughts you feed your mind don't bring help to your spirit, to yourself you're being unkind. And on the road that you're walking, whatever path you choose to take, know that there's more to discover.